welcome to The Red Menace. We're a comedy news podcast bringing you the latest and greatest stories from inside still. I'm going to keep doing that introduction until quarantine ends and you can't stop me. My name's Chris
Until
Bolson.
we're allowed to leave the house. And I'm Alison Hoare, and I'm also very cold right now inside my house.
I'm actually wearing a Red Menace branded hoodie at the moment.
Wow. What a great product placement that we've got just right there.
Yep, this great audio product placement. So I'll describe it to you. It's a black hoodie. It's got a picture of my face on it, rendered beautifully. Your face rendered pretty well.
I mean, they did well considering the source material they were working with. You have to give them that.
Also considering that my sister's never met you, and the way she drew the picture was she Facebook stalked you for like a minute, and then was like, I'll just draw a cartoon of her.
I mean, she did a decent job.
I think
given
so.
that being the constraints there.
She made my beard look super patchy, so really I think she was quite flattering to you.
Fortunately, I don't have a beard for her to make look patchy, so I think that gave me a leg up over you, I would say, in this situation.
I have, as of today, because it's Monday, because we're delaying an episode for reasons that we won't get into.
There was a lot of technical glitches.
There was a lot of technical glitches. What was I talking about? Oh, that's right. So today I've gone back to work. Last week it was my birthday and I didn't work, which was just so good. Even though it was functionally identical to working, because, like, what's the difference nowadays? But it was a real rude awakening to not be able to stay in bed till 9 a.m. Like,
yeah, to have to get out of bed?
What's the point of living, you know? Like, if you can't...
If you can't sleep until midday every day for the rest of your life...
I had to do a Microsoft Teams meeting at 9:30. I had to have, like, brushed hair. What the fuck? It's not...
Yucky.
I feel like a week of holiday is never enough. I think I keep doing this where I'll go on a week
Even in the coronavirus climate, where your holiday is in the same location as your workplace.
You always finish your week of holiday and go, oh, is that it? It's like a very unsatisfying lover, except, like, for your life and emotions.
Because, okay, here's the thing. On Monday of the holiday, you're like, oh, I've got a whole week of holiday. This is great. I'm just going to take it easy. And then on Tuesday, you're like, look, I've still got most of a week of holiday left. I'm going to take it easy.
By Wednesday, you're like, wow, there's not a lot of holiday left, is there?
Yeah, on Wednesday, you're thinking about, like, oh, shit, I've got Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, and then you spend Thursday watching shitty sci-fi horror movies, and you're just like, is this really how I wanted to spend my holiday? Oh, well, no chance to change it now.
Well,
What's done is done.
I'm committed to this now. I can't go back on this. And that's it.
What I would strongly recommend, Alison, is that you watch the movie Event Horizon, because Sam Neill gives the most wonderful performance.
I believe I've seen Event Horizon at some point. It's probably been on television after MasterChef or after whatever I'm watching, whatever trash I'm watching on television. And look, it's probably just been on in the background, but I think I've seen it.
It's pretty bad. Sam Neill, who's a good actor, mostly, is not in this. Or, I don't know, he's just in a different movie to everyone else in this, and it was so delightful. He's so over the top.
Okay, well, that sounds good. That sounds like a thing to watch.
Do you have a story for me?
Yeah, I'm going to start with a different story than what I started with last time, but we will come back around to that one. I just don't want to, get into the same swing.
You don't want to get, like, that deja vu Matrix shit.
Oh, I don't want to get that deja vu Matrix shit, and I don't want to, jinx us, because maybe the story that we started with last time was jinxed. We don't know.
Also, I'm fairly confident that I will come up with the same joke again, because I've forgotten what the story was. So, it will...
Oh, we'll get back to it.
It'll be identical.
Let's start in Australia, though, hey?
Let's.
I'm just going to refresh this tab since the tab decided to die. Let's go to the Bendigo Advertiser.
Okay.
And it says, Bendigo giant bin night ibis earns praise on bin isolation outing Facebook group. So firstly, there's a lot to unpack in the title here.
That's a fucking dense headline, Jesus.
So firstly, let's break it down right. Do you know what the bin isolation outing Facebook group is?
No, you know what else? And I don't.
So Australians are fucking weird. It's for context. I feel like we need to set up that context. And look, because there is not many occasions that allow you to leave the house legally, people have been making a whole show out of leaving the house to put the bin on the street.
Oh, that's fun, actually. Okay.
Yeah, so people have been putting on costumes and making a fun, like, leaving the house to put the bin on the street situation on bin
Like,
night.
it's existentially depressing, but, like, it's fun.
Yeah, well, exactly. And anyway, okay, so clearly someone in this group has decided to dress as a giant ibis. So I'm going to read the headline again now with that context. Bendigo giant bin night ibis earns praise on bin isolation outing Facebook group.
I feel like I'm in a yes, yes, no reply all episode where I'm slowly understanding a tweet.
Exactly.
Because this makes sense to me now.
Yeah, you're unpacking it and you're okay, I got the context behind this. I have some idea what's happening. And this is by Elspeth Kernebon for the Bendigo Advertiser.
Kernebon is I can imagine, like, a colonel in the English Navy being like Colonel
Look, it
Kernebon.
could be Kernborn. I don't know. I'm just reading it phonetically. Sorry, Elspeth, if you, for some reason, are listening to this show.
Elspeth, you've got to join the military because the name... You can't have Colonel be in your name and not become one.
Sure. A Bendigo man has won the internet after a bin isolation outing dressed as a giant ibis.
What kind of prize do you get for winning the internet?
I don't know. A lot of people seem to win the internet, though.
I like to believe that every single time a person wins the internet, they replace Jeff Bezos. And that this is the latest in a long line of people who have been Jeff Bezos.
Absolutely. They're all become Jeff Bezos. But the thing is, for people who aren't aware, ibises are a kind of bird which in Australia are referred to as bin chicken. So I feel like his costume was kind of inspired by that. It is a very good ibis costume, I must say.
Well, I mean, but that's like saying it's a good shit costume, Alison. I don't know if it's an achievement per se.
No, well, sure. Golden Square man Brad McDonald donned the 14-foot bird to put his bins out on Thursday night.
Holy fuck.
It's quite tall.
That's a significant ibis. Was he on stilts? How did that even...
No, well, his legs are his normal legs, but the head is, like, very tall.
Jesus, okay.
New to the area, it was the first time Mr. McDonald had encountered many of his neighbours.
Now that is a power move that I can get behind.
That's your first impression. He created the bin chicken last weekend in a bid to entertain his children and use up rubbish in the shed. Its main material was some old pallets. In total, construction took about 5 hours. Inside was comfy but cosy, Mr. McDonald said. He had a window about half the size of an A4 sheet from which to see the world.
That's not bad.
This is what happens when white men have too much free time on their hands.
White man build big bin chicken.
Right, exactly.
That should be the headline, White man build big bin chicken.
Exactly.
It's a fun tongue twister.
Men need a hobby. This is a good hobby for him, though, building bin chickens out of garbage.
Confident this is why we invented video games.
This is why we invented podcasts. Was so
it's true, so give white men like myself something to do. Wow, that cuts deep, huh?
Damn, just ripping into ourselves here.
You're participating willingly.
Mr. McDonald tested the bird a few days ago, but its main debut was on midnight on Thursday.
What does that mean, tested the bird?
Let's not get into what he did or did not do in the bird.
I like to think he just did his chores, like he did the vacuuming, dressed as a 14-foot tall ibis.
See if it was suitable for putting the bins out. You can't, like, bang in the bird or something to see if it's suitable for putting the bins out. That's very different.
No, you need to do a contextually appropriate task.
Right,
like
exactly.
Scrubbing the floors or something.
Pretty much everyone on the street came out to watch, he said. And Mr. McDonald's kids' reactions? It earned an eye roll from a 9-year-old daughter, but his 6-year-old son thought the project was the best thing since sliced bread.
Oh, that's some dad energy right
it
there.
It sure is.
Damn, son.
This is the only reason I'd be interested in having kids, would be to dress up as a giant bin chicken and embarrass my children by going out on the street dressed like that. That's the one reason to have kids.
Just like... Here's the problem, and this is why I think I'm going to be a paradoxically great and terrible parent one day.
Sure.
Is I am going to be so desperate to be a cool dad
Okay.
Because I'm desperate right now to be a cool 25-year-old. Why do you think I'm doing this? 26-year-old. Fuck, I forgot my age.
Sure. You said I was 25 earlier.
I did. I'm projecting that I want to be 25.
Clearly we're both stuck at that age and we haven't really moved on from 25.
I mean, time is nothing now. So, like, for me...
No, well, time doesn't exist during Corona.
I became 26 in a post-Roni world, so I don't think I'm actually any older, you know?
No, I don't think you are. You haven't aged.
But, like, I'm going to try so deeply hard to be cool, and it's going to backfire instantly. But it'll backfire before the children are born. Like, I'm going to post some shit that's, like, ironic and funny on Instagram about my future children. Everyone's going to be like, you're a fucking loser. But
yeah, you're just setting them up for embarrassment before they are even born.
But they're going to have a great bonding experience with their siblings, just talking about how much they wish Dad would just please stop. Just please quiet.
Well, that's true. You're bringing them together.
Exactly.
Having a common enemy.
Through the oppression that is my lameness.
I'm just going to finish reading this story because there's not much more to it. He chose the ibis in light of its near victory in the 2017 Bird of the Year competition. I just felt like they needed someone to fly the flag for them, Mr. McDonald said. Within an hour of posting the video on the Bin Isolation Outing Facebook group, Mr. McDonald had hundreds of comments and thousands of likes. Mr. McDonald said most comments said wonderful or fantastic idea. A few even claimed he had won the internet. Sorry, whose authority are they saying he's won the internet on? I didn't vote.
What's the criteria, you know? Like, how do we break down... This is getting to be more than it should.
Here's the thing, right? People winning the internet used to be a cool phrase to say when I was like, 17, 16. I'm assuming most of the people in this Bin Isolation Outing Facebook group are probably edging towards boomer. And something about boomers saying you won the internet makes me feel deeply uncomfortable, and I would like to move on from this topic.
I have one little sociological commentary to give first.
Sure.
Which is that I think in this day and age, it's fair to say that the internet is honestly the vast majority of what makes up our society.
Sure.
Like, it's say at least half. And what that means, if you win the internet, you win society. And
yeah, well, that's true. Nowadays, absolutely.
if all it takes to win society is to build a fucking ibis costume, what are we doing?
Get me the fucking hammer and some garbage bags and whatever else materials I need to build an ibis costume, and I'll do it right now.
Like, it's not... Surely our standards should be higher.
Surely you'd have to at least dress as a cassowary to be able to win the internet.
No, you should end a war. I don't want, like... Dressing up is not adequate.
What happens if you dress up as a cassowary in order to end a war?
You should have to, like... Okay, but if that cassowary then writes, like, infinite jest or some shit, okay. But, like...
Sure.
I'm taking this very seriously.
But if you wrote infinite jest as a cassowary, then it would be even better than just writing the book straight out, would it not?
It'd be called Infinite Pest.
Yeah. Anyway, long story short...
That was nothing.
Society... We live in a society, as the meme would say.
Oh my god. Let me find a story. That got away from me.
Let's just move on. Let's just blast right past that and bring on a new story to talk about.
This is a story from TheVerge.com. I found it myself, and I have no idea how many legs the story will have. I just loved the headlines so much.
Yeah, well, let's just get into it.
Thirsty koalas lick trees. It's a surprising new discovery.
I don't want to hear about what thirsty koalas do. You know, living in Port Macquarie, we had a lot of koalas back in the day. It's a shame because there's not so many now. But back when I was growing up, there were a lot of them. And during springtime, you got to hear a lot of koala men making noises to attract their koala
very thirsty
females.
Sounds.
Right, and they were very thirsty. And so when I think thirsty koala, that's immediately what springs to my mind, and I don't want to think about it.
Well, to be fair,
yucky.
I'm fairly confident that's not the kind of thirst that
No.
this. And can I say, I would prefer that genre of like thirstiness to the human genre, which is a bit more insidious, which is like I'm going to slide into an influencer's DMs because that seems like
The koala slides.
But the koala can only express what it can usually express. So you just get a long text that says, fuck.
So, like, koalas are all thirsty on Maine, though, because they're not, like, sliding into DMs. They're just shouting out to the world, hey, any ladies want a bone? And
So
they're just shouting that out for everyone.
Tweeting on their main account, want some fuck?
Any ladies want some fuck is what the koalas are saying.
I want fuck. We'll take fuck, please.
And then the female koala is like, just puts a winking emoji and writes OTW.
But Alison, how much better would the world be as a place if instead of having thirsty men, all the influencers had thirsty koalas in their DMs? I think they would be genuinely happier.
Right. Well, I don't know. If you've ever had to sleep with koalas making those noises.
That's true. I'm sorry. I don't mean to diminish your
my trauma. Yeah. Can you talk about the thirsty koalas though? I'd like to know why they're licking trees.
Koalas lick tree trunks to quench their thirst when it rains, scientists just learned. It upends what biologists long thought about koalas, that they get almost all the water they need from the eucalyptus leaves they eat. But koalas probably lap up water like many animals, except they do so from trees, according to the findings published today in the journal Ethology. With fires, heat waves, and drought putting more and more stress on the critters, scientists have been paying close attention to how koalas are keeping hydrated. This significantly alters our understanding of how koalas gain water in the wild. It's very exciting. I find that amusing just right off the face of it.
I wish I was the kind of person who'd get excited about koala thirst. Like, it's just something that personally I'm like, okay, well, it's an interesting tidbit. But if you're a scientist who spent your whole life researching koalas and, like, for you, like, finding out, koalas do oblong-shaped poos would be, like, the greatest excitement of your life. I just don't have that about anything.
That would be like fireflies coming back. Like, that's like what those nerd... It's a different genre of nerd, you know?
Sure, it's a preferred genre of nerd.
I think it's definitely superior.
Yes, a genre of nerd which is contributing to society as opposed to taking away from it.
As opposed to just fucking draining society.
Fucking hate nerds and beat them up every day.
Licking the tree that is society.
Absolutely. Lapping up sap from those tree trunks of society.
As the creators of our media rain down the water onto the eucalyptus, the nerds just at the teat of the trees...
just lapping it up.
Just like fucking sucking on that media milk.
The tea tree. The tea treats...
teat tree.
The teat trees media...
I'm going to start selling teat tree shampoo. It'll get rid of the lice that is
Jesus
nerds.
Christ. Continue with the story.
There's no comedy value to this story. It's a
This
purely...
is like geek roasting. Well, I'm curious.
It's purely educational.
What value does it give to them? Why do they lap it up off trees and not, like, go to a pond and drink?
I think just because they don't want to.
I mean...
Because the pond far away, tree, I'm on tree already.
Well, exactly. It's the equivalent of, like, you know, let's say that it's the morning, right, and you're really sleepy, and you can't be bothered going to the kitchen to get a glass of water, so you just drink, like, half the empty thing of beer that's been sitting there all night on the bedside table. You know what's wild,
Alison? And I think
it's a
great example of you and I being in sync is that I was going to make that exact same joke just now, and I'm so proud of you.
And I don't even drink alcohol.
No.
So I've never been in that situation, although I have drunk half a thing of, like, flat, lukewarm fizzy drink in the morning because it was there. It was just sitting there.
It's the liquid equivalent of breakfast pizza, you know? Like,
exactly. It's there, you drink it.
You know, you already feel bad. Why not just make it worse?
Exactly.
Let me see. The surprising discovery was made by enlisting the help of citizen scientists and independent ecologists who had observed the koala's behaviour in the wild between 2006 and 2019. That's a long time.
It's a long time to be looking at koala behaviour.
One koala was caught lapping up rainwater for more than 30 minutes at a steady pace of 2 licks per second. Which, I've got to say, this koala would give amazing head. It would just be, like, so talented.
I do like the idea of these citizen ecologists going out there and, like, recording the rate of licking by the koalas. They're just, like, count how many licks per second.
Filming the LPS of these koalas. And I'm
how
just
many,
like...
What's your LPS?
Lower,
I don't know.
lower.
I haven't recorded my...
And I like the idea of, like, the commentary that they must be doing. Like, after, like, 10 minutes, they're just like, holy shit, he's going to fucking town on that tree. Like, how much stamina's he got?
Look at that LPS on that beast.
Look at this koala's LPS. I'm definitely calling this episode LPS. It's happening.
The koalas are all out there, like... You know, they're not having dick measuring contests. What they're doing is they're like, hey, mate, what's your LPS?
Which, and I don't mean to make this too lewd, but in this modern romantic world, that's a much more useful statistic.
Sure. All of you people, get on your Tinder profile and update your LPS.
I think Tinder needs to add an LPS section. And it needs to be...
Well, it's got your height, your weight, like all that kind of stuff, and then you just put in your LPS.
Well,
so then people know.
I think Tinder needs to develop a feature by which they can measure the LPS. So
sure, you have to lick your phone.
You have to lick the phone as many times as possible in a minute.
Right, but it's unknown how the app actually works, or whether it just kind of gives a randomized number, but people trust it.
People trust the LPS.
They trust the LPS.
People have gotten very discerning about who they'll go on dates with based purely on the LPS.
It's like, oh, look, you know, he's really hot, he's rich, he's really nice.
But that's
But he's got a really low LPS, and I'm a little bit worried about that.
And then there's like, it's like he definitely sleeps on a futon, but that LPS, damn, son, damn.
Right, exactly.
That's a koala level LPS.
She did murder her husband, and she does say on her Tinder profile she's looking for more men to murder and women to murder.
But LPS?
Look at that LPS. Like, I'm willing to risk it.
Worth it.
Oh, God.
Altogether, they documented 46 instances of koalas drinking in trees during and after it rained. Koalas were recorded drinking every time observations were made in the rain. One of the reasons why scientists hadn't noticed this before was because people are less likely to go out and look for them in bad weather, according to Mella. Which, I like that the I don't wanna ethos extends to the scientists as well.
It's like, oh, you know, we're supposed to be measuring koala LPS, but it's kind of raining outside, and I don't really want to.
Oh, but you know, the Mandalorian's out. I don't know if that's what I'm gonna do now, though.
Oh, you know, like... I've got a nice quilt here, and I've got my bay, and we're going to Netflix and chill, but...
National Geographic has a pretty good doco about koalas. Maybe we could just do that. And then they're like, you're contributing to that documentary. Like, your data is relevant.
The information that you're collecting on koala LPS... That is the main feature of the documentary, and you're not doing it.
God, I'd love to listen to Richard Attenborough talk about koala LPS. That would make me so happy.
What I want to know is, I want to know the LPS of other animals.
These koalas have managed to maintain a steady 120 licks per minute.
Jesus Christ.
That's 2 licks per second, which is 20% higher than the average human man.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not going to read the rest of this because it is just like science and we're only halfway
we got the
through.
most important part.
But there's lots of very cute videos. Like this one's of someone letting a koala drink out of their water bottle. One's koala lapping up out of a bird bath. It's very sweet.
Right. Lots of those photos that were kind of floating around during the fire.
Yeah, similar genre.
I remember when the fires were happening. Remember that? Before Corona, when Australia was on fire.
Feels so long ago, huh?
God, it feels like ages ago. I remember getting roasted by K-pop stans because I told one of them that a photo they shared wasn't from the Australian bushfires.
I remember you complaining about this.
I did. That felt like a millennium ago.
Hey, what do you think's next, huh?
I don't want to know. Shall we just move on to a news story, hey?
Yeah, sure.
I'm reading from a bit of a different source. I'm reading from, it's a journalist called Josh Butler, and he's got a little bit of a...
Yes, I'm familiar.
He's got a newsletter. So I'm reading from his newsletter.
Oh.
From his 5+5 Coronavirus Edition by Josh Butler. Because he does touch on a little bit of an interesting little tidbit of internet culture here, which has come about thanks to the coronavirus. And it's in the five coronavirus things is the story.
I'm immediately scared, but continue.
Yeah, anyway, let's read this. It says...
Love that you don't dissuade my fear.
Oh, I'm not going to dissuade it, because you should be a little bit dreading what you're going to hear.
Great.
99% group smashes TVs in media COVID protest.
What the... Wait. Okay, I'm going to need this explained to me, because I don't...
Yeah.
What possible... All right, please continue. I'm
going to read it.
I'm going to hold my reaction until I have some context.
I do like how Josh opens this. He's like, so this is a new one. A small but enthusiastic group of Australians have spent the weekend smashing their televisions and computer monitors with sledgehammers, garden tools and meat tenderizers in a protest against media telling us what to think during the coronavirus outbreak.
I mean, you know that those TVs are not manufactured by the media.
No, the ABC.
Now, I hate to tell it to you, ABC and Samsung, different company.
They're not the same thing.
ABC, not Dell, unfortunately.
ABC, not Apple Mac.
Channel 10 is not MacBook Pro.
It was inspired by a Facebook group claiming to represent the 99%, with around 23,000 members.
Well, that's, again, just right off the bat, statistically inaccurate.
Hang on. This group was started by a former contestant on a short-lived reality TV cooking show. Ironically, considering the type of protest.
Yep, all right, fair enough. I'm seeing a real heel turn against the...
This is what the person said. They said, film yourself speaking about distrust in the media.
Film
how
yourself?
You're sick of the lies. Create media talking about how much you hate the media.
I really like when people refer to the media.
Yeah, me too.
Because...
Whilst they are creating media, especially.
Well, not even that, but as though the media is like one giant thing owned by Disney, which it almost is, but not quite.
Soon it will be.
But
we're not at that stage yet.
By the end of the year, this will be accurate. But,
yeah, exactly. If you're listening to this post-coronavirus, then remember during coronavirus, this was accurate.
Yeah, and remember to praise Mickey and Kylo Ren and all of their good friends.
Right, exactly.
Whichever Avenger is the new Avenger, because that's what's most important in life.
I don't know. I've not watched a single... Oh, I've watched a single Avengers movie.
Praise Spider-Guy.
Shall I continue reading?
Please.
The former reality TV star, in his own video, pulls out... Oh, sorry, I'm going to continue reading what they said. Film yourself speaking out about distrust in the media and how you're sick of the lies. Destroy your newspaper, radio, or TV, however you see fit. Now, I feel like destroying your newspaper is quite a fair way off destroying your television, but, whatever.
There's definitely a cost difference.
Yeah,
there's in for a penny, in for a pound, like you
right, exactly. Who doesn't destroy their newspaper when they're done
by in for a penny, in for a pound,
mask?
By in for a penny, in for a pound, I mean in for $2, in for $2,000.
Exactly.
Because that's what it is.
The protest instructions from the group's leader imploring people to post their video online. People are encouraged to read from a script saying they formally put the de facto Australian and state governments on notice over alleged negligent criminal treasonous activities towards the Australian people. The former reality star in his own video pulls out an older boxy television, calling it a tell-a-vision, the thing that has been telling us what to think.
It's like a bad 1984 erotica fan fiction.
Right, exactly. No longer will we be programmed, he yells as he lifts the TV above his head and smashes it into the concrete on his yard.
It's a Nine Inch Nails song.
Absolutely. In a supercut video of various clips, dozens of people follow suit, using a range of tools to smash monitors and TV sets. "You are the virus," one woman says of the media.
Oh, God, I want to collate all of these into a song. Like a,
Great.
like an angsty, emo, fucking grungy song.
This is my favourite part. My favourite is the guy at the end who tries and fails to set a newspaper alight. It's not clear exactly which alleged lies the group is upset about.
Yeah.
But the complaints seem to link back to coronavirus lockdowns and social distancing rules. The group's leader also went out to Victorian State Parliament over the weekend, filming a discussion between himself, a small group of supporters, and police, where he says, "We're not here to protest, we're here to demand answers." He asks police
what?
about... Well, we'll see what he says here. He asks police about lockdowns, death rates, and previous virus modelling. The group has spoken out about gathering for a similar meeting next Sunday at Parliament also.
So
I don't know.
Is
It's
the
just
virus...
asking some random cops, like, "What's the death rate, copper?"
So, okay, is he saying that the virus is worse than it is or not as bad as it is?
Well, from the fact that he seems to have a problem... I don't know. Who fucking knows?
Because you could
Chris?
do a fucking coin flip. Like, it's... Oh, my God.
You've got the people on both ends of the spectrum, and they both kind of like circle back around to be the same person. You know, because this same person is probably complaining about the death rates being underreported.
That's
It's
the other
also
thing.
probably reporting about like, oh, it's not as bad.
What's also fascinating about this, and you must understand how much it pains me to say this, our government's handling of coronavirus has been shockingly competent.
It's been reasonable.
Yeah,
Yes.
like it's been a lot better than some others. And
Let's not put people on blast. We don't want our friends in the United States to feel like we're attacking them.
but theirs is worse.
But our Prime Minister is not telling people to inject
No,
disinfectant
our Prime
into
Minister,
their flesh.
and I need you to understand, who I hate.
Who I hate with a burning passion.
Just so
and
deeply.
who did piss off out of the country during the fire crisis.
Has
You know, not doing too badly on this
he
one.
could be doing much worse.
He could be telling people to inject disinfectant, for example, but he's not. And that's a low bar, but apparently we need that
That's
low
the
bar
bar
in
that
today's
exists.
society. That's the bar that's been created by certain countries which shall not be named.
God, we live in a fucking dystopia.
Fucking disaster world.
So yeah, my point is, complain about somewhere else just this once. The moment this is over, please continue. But like, just for now, I want to reward good behaviour.
For now, let's just get through this crisis, and then we'll go back to roasting the government about how shit they are.
Exactly. God, that's going to be good.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Let me bring you a story. Oh, the government... Oh, no, sorry. Optus has just texted me saying I need to download the COVID Safe app now.
I got that as well. But the problem with the COVID Safe app is you do need to have Bluetooth on 24/7, which means my battery lasts approximately 2 minutes.
Oh, see, I've got a pretty powerful big dick phone, Alison, so I can do that.
You can put the Bluetooth on,
So
no
I guess
worries.
I'm going to be COVID safe, unlike some people.
Like some of us.
I'm going to bring you a story from news.com.au about the next big thing that's going to fuck up the world.
Oh, that's exciting. It's good to be on the ball before it happens.
You heard about the Murder Hornets, Alison?
The Murder Hornets.
Murder Hornets could decimate the bee population in the United States.
I see.
And the image at the top of this article is what looks like someone with a very, very bad skin condition on their leg, but it's implied that it's, in fact, hornet stings.
I really, really like that that's the picture they chose to use to illustrate, like, the top of the story.
Yes.
So that's, like, when you want to click open the story, that's what you're seeing.
What
it
you
reminds
want.
me of
It's
those
very good.
clickbait... The clickbait stories that are like, doctors hate him. You will never believe his cure to aging. And you're like, well, I probably will never believe it, so I'm not going to read this.
Because it is
clickbait
orange
story.
juice, so it's not very effective.
Right, exactly.
As if things aren't currently terrifying enough, the United States is now dealing with an outbreak of deadly hornets that are more than 5 centimetres long and capable of piercing through a beekeeper's suit.
Oh dear.
The monster insect, nicknamed by researchers as the murder hornet, has been...
I mean, It's a valid nickname.
has been found in the country for the first time and are responsible for killing up to 50 people a year in Japan. The New York Times has penned a graphic anecdote from beekeeper Ted McFall, which is a delightful name, in Washington state, who found his beehive slaughtered by the frightening invader. Thousands and thousands of his colony had their heads torn from their body. Asian giant hornets.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Asian giant hornets can use mandibles shaped like spiked shark fins to wipe out a honeybee hive in a matter of hours, decapitating the bees and flying away with the thoraxes to feed their young, the newspaper recounted.
Oh dear.
For larger targets, the hornet's potent venom and stinger make for an excruciating combination that victims have likened to having hot metal driving into their skin. Mm-hmm. Nature's fucking bad, y'all. Like,
yeah, nature is not ideal.
It's times like this when I'm like, maybe we should warm the globe. You know, like maybe we need to deal with some of these.
Maybe the heat will drive away the murder hornets.
Heat will deal with. My worry is that the murder hornets will be the only ones left. You know.
Well, I mean, murder hornets and cockroaches.
Yeah.
They'll outlast the rest of us on this planet.
The cockroaches are going to grow teeth and start killing us.
I don't want that. I don't want toothy cockroaches grinning at me.
Mr. McFall was shocked by the destruction of his bees. It was only later he figured out the carnage could have been inflicted by a murder hornet. I couldn't wrap my head around what could have done that, he told the New York Times. I'm now realizing that this is just like they've read a New York Times article and said, well, we'll do that.
I mean, how many articles on the internet are like that, though?
That is true. I respect the craft. At least they said where it came from, you know?
Right, exactly.
Because it's not like the Daily Mail where they would just steal the quotes and rewrite the article.
They would just copy and paste it and then put a whole bunch of photos from the beekeeper's Facebook page on there for some reason.
Yeah, so in another...
Like, they put his photo of him and his significant other on their honeymoon. Just chuck that on there for some reason.
So in yet another complimentary turn that I didn't expect today to happen, goodjobnews.com.au.
What's happening? Coronavirus is making us find positives in even the worst places.
The predatory insect was described in one piece as having teardrop eyes like Spider-Man, orange and black stripes that extend down its body like a tiger, and broad wispy wings like a small dragonfly.
Oh boy. 2
have been spotted in the same state Mr. McFall works, which is the first sighting in the US, and now scientists have set out to hunt the hornet down, fearing it will colonize and decimate bee populations.
I mean, look, they're just basically fearing that the hornet will do what the white settler did.
Jesus. Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, white people went to Asia to take, and now the Asian animals are returning to return the favor.
Right, exactly.
I also am quite taken by the idea of hunting the hornets down and getting like a Liam Neeson figure.
I like a Taken kind of scenario with murder hornets. I do like that idea, yeah.
I look forward to the horror movie we make about this in like a decade.
Alternatively, you could flip the script, right, and have like a Dog the Bounty Hunter style, like somewhat comedy-based reality show about like Dog the Bounty Hunter hunting murder hornets now. He's old and he can't get people, but he can get hornets.
What if we make a B-movie-esque sort of like we'll get Liam Neeson instead of Seinfeld to play the lead hornet, because it's like this is a gritty thriller. But we will use that like B-movie technology and have that like, I mean, one of the hornets will fuck a human woman, obviously.
That's the main plot point of B-movie.
Crucial.
It's absolutely needed in that movie.
And it'll be called Wasp movie. Hornet
absolutely.
movie.
Hornet
it'll be called
movie.
the big.
And in bracket will be in small bracket above the hornet. It will say Murder Hornet.
Imagine Liam Neeson going like the name's Hornet, Murder Hornet.
Okay, it tracks. I could see him doing that.
But Washington State Department of Agriculture entomologist Chris Looney, another great name, is worried it may be too late. This is our only window to keep it from establishing, he told the New York Times. If we can't do it in the next couple of years, it probably can't be done. So Americans, you are summarily fucked. Sorry in advance for what happens to you.
They already knew that.
Yeah, but like, this is just another one to add on the pile.
It's another plague. God did say he'd send some plagues. He said he'd be sending a few out there, so
a lot of the folks over there are Christians, so it's not like they didn't read the warnings.
They should have read the book.
If it were legal, I'd tell you to come here.
They should have read the book.
They should have read the book before they played the interactive ARG.
Right. Before they should have read the book. That's all I'm going to say.
Before
you should have read the book, you would have known it was coming.
Before they pressed start on the Corona Fire Bee Plague, they should have,
Right, exactly.
They should have read the fucking manual.
Yeah, simple.
Do you have a story for me, Alison?
Shall we jump into the story that we started with last time we tried to record this episode, and then look, I feel like we're close enough to the end of this recording that if I do bring back the cursed story, hopefully it should not be so cursed this time.
We've got enough releasable content by now.
Right, exactly. That if this goes off the rails now, if
the episode just kind of ends, that's why.
It's why. We've got the cursed story. We're bringing it back. This is from Perth now, although it originally came from somewhere else. And look, this is about real estate. We do love real estate here.
Just love it.
And last time I said, okay, the story has one angle, but when you read beyond that small angle, you start to see that the catch of this property is a little bit different to what the story makes it out to be.
Okay.
So it says here, haunted Louisiana home gets no takers despite being on the market for free. Who wouldn't want a free house?
It's perplexing. I'd want a free house.
I'd want a free house. I mean, it's a haunted house, sure.
I mean,
Ghosts come with the house,
I'd
whatever.
want any house, and I'm in that stage in my life where the only kind of house I can have is a free house. So I realize
free haunted house.
This is a beggars can't be choosers situation, but I'd take it nonetheless.
Well, look, if you're struggling to buy a house and you're struggling to find a life partner, go into this house and marry the ghost that lives in it. Because why not?
I've watched Ghostbusters, so I know that ghosts can get nasty.
They've got a high LPS, I would imagine.
They've got a legendary LPS.
We told this story like ages ago in this podcast.
Level of... That's what you need to advertise on your Tinder, is that you have a non-corporeal level of LPS.
Exactly. Do you remember we had the story about the woman who married the ghost of Jack Sparrow or something like that?
Yeah, the horny ghost who could fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. I guess he's got a high LPS, I would imagine. So look, when I saw this, I'm like, okay, it's a fairly nice house. It does look quite haunted. Like, I could see where the ghosts would be haunting. There's lots of little haunty, spooky places, but it's free. I mean, I would take it.
Yeah.
But then I read, and I'm like, the catch is a little bit bigger than a free ghost in your free house.
Yeah.
It says here, the owners of a haunted house in Louisiana say they are failing to get any interest in the 4-bed property, despite it being on the market for free. I mean, Chris, it's 4 beds. You don't have to share a bedroom with the ghost.
This is a tangent. Quick little digression. I wish they'd say bedroom instead of bed. It just annoys me because every single time I visualize just 2 bunk beds and I'm like, that's it, I guess.
That's the 4-bed property. I mean, it wouldn't be lying if you said it was a 4-bed property because there's 4 beds inside that property. Which reminds me of a very good show that I was watching
Plus, then you can say
ago.
It's fully furnished.
Watch a show called Stath Lets Flats, and it's about a real estate agent in the UK, and it's very funny.
Okay.
And I feel like that thing about the 4-bed property, that's something that would happen in that show.
Interesting.
That's a bit that I could pitch. Estate agent Sylvia McLean has offered the 1920s property free of charge so her firm can rebuild on the land. But there have been no takers.
Yeah.
So here, the catch is the house is free, but the land doesn't come with the house.
I love the way you put that. Land's not included.
Land not included, exactly.
Must provide own land.
So the reason no one's taking it must be because of the ghost. Like, there's simply no other explanation as to
why. It's because of the ghost bit.
Exactly. Sylvia admits that she has heard all the stories about
truck
the house.
Truck in some land of your own.
Exactly.
I wonder if you could take that extremely literally and bring, like, some turf grass
Oh,
and
just
put
bring
that
like
down.
a whole pile of soil.
And just be like, well, it's my fucking land now, dog.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Finders keepers.
Estate agent Sylvia McLean, we've gone to that one. Sylvia admits she has heard all the stories about the house, which is said to be haunted by an elderly woman. Dawn Vallow de Clout, who used to live in the 4-bedroom property, claimed the house is spooked by her grandmother Adele, who is known for meddling in the kitchen. She said, "We believe Adele is the ghost, but she's not menacing at all. She's probably like 4'9" and weighed about 100 lbs. She lived to be almost 90, and she was always digging in the pots, like when you have something on the stove and someone goes and looks in the pot and stirs it around." I mean, this fucking ghost is going to piss me off if it's going to be stirring my food.
Yeah.
For me.
If it's going to stir the pot, like, I don't want...
It's stirring the...
I'm trying so hard to come up with an Adele pun right now, and just none of them are fitting. It's really frustrating to me.
Okay, quick, let's throw out some Adele songs.
I was going to be like,
Rolling in the deep.
we're looking for a tenant like you, but it's got to be someone like you, so it doesn't work. What's the phone call one? Hello?
Hello?
Hello from the haunted house?
I don't know.
That's all the Adele songs.
Well, actually, you could just say hello from the other side.
Oh,
because it is
true.
a ghost, and they're on the other side. Like,
hot take: Adele's dead by the third album, and it's all ghost songs.
okay, wonderful. The real estate agent took to Facebook to offer up the home for nothing, but there is a catch.
Land not
McLean
included.
Development recently purchased this land and home. In an effort to save the history of the home, we are offering it to anyone who would be interested in moving it to another location for restoration.
How, though? How does one do... How big is this home? Is it a cottage? Can you fit it on a ute?
It's not a cottage. It's 2 stories.
Well, then I hate to break it to you, you're not going to get it through the city tunnel.
It's a little... Well, exactly. It's not going to be able to... You're not going to be able to get straps long enough to hold it down on top of your ute.
No, Alison, just get some hockey straps. They're good and stretchy.
I do like, though, that the angle of the story, right? And when I clicked this story, I'm like, oh, haunted house for free. Excellent. Like, must be some pretty good haunting. But then we find out the haunting itself, if it is a haunting, it's just some old fucking lady stirring your food occasionally for you, which seems mildly helpful.
Famed songstress Adele, who's just, like, occasionally helping you cook.
Yeah, exactly. She puts a little bit of pinch of salt in there every now and again, and when she sees it's burning, she'll stir it around so it doesn't stick to the bottom. Like, I was like, well, that's not a very good haunting. But no, the catch is that literally you need to come pick up the house.
Do you think there's, like, a time limit on how long it takes you to take the whole house? Like, could I take it piece by piece? Like, could I get, like, a big hacksaw and just, like, cut it into rooms?
Yeah, but I do like the idea that this fucking person, this development agency, the development company, whatever it is, has bought up the property, and they're like, oh, we don't want to destroy the history of this house, but we kind of want to knock it down to build a bunch of flats
that's the thing,
here.
like, why not just do it? Like, I hate to be calling them to knock a old house down, but it kind of seems like they wanna. And
they really want to, Chris. They really want to knock it down.
Only reason I can think of why they're not just doing it is there's some sort of legal reason stopping them. Like,
there's absolutely some kind of legal reason stopping them, because it's a heritage listed thing.
But hey, I hate to break it to you, if something's heritage listed, you can't fucking cut it out of the ground. You can't, like, cut Uluru out of the soil and move it somewhere else, because then it's just a big fucking rock, and it's not Uluru anymore.
Hot new tip for any development agencies, or, you want to put in a new high-rise building, all you got to do is cut whatever's there out of the ground and offer it for free on Facebook Marketplace.
I don't know if
and then you can use the land for literally anything.
And on a related note, I don't know if you've ever watched a horror movie, but most hauntings are geography-based, not furnishing-based.
And it makes them a little bit more angry when you go ahead and rip out their haunty house to put in
what
you're
basically
property.
doing is removing the seal from the bottle of ghosts that is contained in the soil. Like,
I mean, we know that hauntings, 99% of hauntings in the United States occur on old Indian burial grounds.
Exactly. It's a weirdly...
That's a fact. That's a stat that I have of,
it's a stat. It's a deeply racist stat, but a stat nonetheless.
It's a stat from the films, directly from them.
It's from Stephen King's in hindsight, slightly racist book. But he has copped to that in his defense.
He has, it's a trope that he has accepted is not
like,
a great trope.
If you knock Hill House down, it's still going to be haunted, you know?
It's still, the ghost is still there.
The ghosts will
roaming.
wander out and go to your house. If you go, based on that show...
they'll be going to... The seal's broken. They can go anywhere.
Yeah.
They'll go to all the houses around.
Because they haunt you, not the house. They haunt the soil.
Exactly. She adds that the home was lived in up until
to be fair, can really help cultivate a garden.
For sure. She adds that the home was lived in up until about 6 months prior and even has 2 working air conditioning
At which point
units.
everyone inside was fucking murdered.
Right, exactly. But apparently it needs a bit of work. The home has been vacated due to development and needs some TLC. We would love to see someone take it to be moved and restored. Fuck off!
It's not a couch!
Yeah,
it's a building!
It's not a fridge. Someone can't just pick it up.
Okay, you know how they're moving the Powerhouse Museum?
Oh, they should just cut out the entire old Powerhouse
For a
building.
while I was very confused because I did think that's what they were going to do, was literally just like pick up the building via...
I mean, I've had to follow that story far too much for my liking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does get framed a little bit like that
I just
sometimes.
think they should airlift the Powerhouse Museum out with the big Avengers plane, and then there'll be little rocks falling off of it as it flies through the city, and it'll be funny and a fun game for us all.
The mayor of Parramatta will go out there with her ute, or his ute, and pick it up, and
just strap it down in the back. He knows
exactly.
some good... He doesn't have straps, but he has some ropes, and he knows the good knots.
The artifacts in the museum...
Just leave them in there, it'll be fine.
They'll just get thrown loose into the back of the car.
No, just leave them kicking in the museum while you move it. It'll be right. They're in, containers, I'm sure. Dinosaur bones, bones are hard to break, Alison. Dinosaur bones, they're not...
Well, they've been around for millions of years.
Yeah, they're pretty tough. I think they can take our move.
Surely they can take a move to Parramatta.
Fuck me.
So if you want a free house, a free haunted house, all you need to do is go drive out there with your ute and
bring
pick
over
it
your
up.
Subaru and just put it on the roof racks and you'll be good.
But I think my favourite thing about this though is the framing to make the story seem more interesting is that the house is haunted and that's why it's on the market for free. Because if you read this headline, as I did, haunted Louisiana home gets no takers despite being on the market for free.
See, I hear that and I hear an opportunity, you know?
Louisiana home gets no takers despite being on the market for free and...
Without land included.
Louisiana home, no land included, obviously gets no fucking takers because no one has a ute big enough to pick it up. Is what...
Plus, imagine the fuel costs of the extra weight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's not free.
Absolutely. You know what? Don't accept this house because if it's protected, let it be protected and let this fucking real estate that bought it with the hope of knocking it down and building flats not be allowed to do that because that would be fun.
Let's wrap up.
Indeed.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this more successful second recording.
I'm feeling a lot better about this recording than the one yesterday.
Yeah, me too. I even think we handled that story a lot better than we did the first time.
We did. We did.
You can find us on Twitter or Instagram at Red Menace Cast or on Facebook at the Red Menace Podcast. You can find our merchandise on TeePublic. That's the name of the website. Just search the Red Menace Podcast. That's about it, isn't it?
That's about it. That's all good.
Thank you, ScoMo, for not fucking up the country for once.
And thanks, everyone, for bearing with us with the delay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's a better episode you got today than you would have got yesterday.
Yeah, we were not in a good place.
It was not a good space yesterday.
No, I was so tired. I'm still tired, but now I've crossed the threshold where I'm funny tired instead of just being sad tired.
Yeah, I'm not as delirious as I was yesterday, so that's a good...
I'm more delirious, but I think that's playing to my strength.
Well, that's good. We've got there.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Good luck and good night, lizards, you know.